morning. Today is February 22nd, 2024. My name is Terry Morgan. We are here to practice Tai Chi. We are working on Yang style Tai Chi, the long form, 3 parts, 103, 108 movements depending on who's counting and how you count. We have a number of things that we've been paying attention to, several things from the first part of the form, the second part of the form, and I've talked about quite a bit about the repetitions in the form and how that helps us understand what the important points in practice in that system happen to be. That's how we get the forms, right? One of the things that I haven't talked about, I'm going to talk about a little bit this morning, is the idea that as we finish the forms, we return to the beginning. So when we start here, salute, open, right? At the end, at the same place, close, salute, finish. It's the same. Why? Why don't we do something else at the end? And in the names of the forms, the ending movement, restoring the form, return to the beginning. That concept, that idea, that we start, we open up whatever it is we're doing, and then we come back and we close. Return back to where we were. Bring everything back to where we were when we started so that we can take it away. We can keep it. That sense of, I've called it putting your toys away, right? During practice, we open up a lot of things. We do some things that we might not normally do in everyday life. We do. When we finish practice, we need to finish practice. That means I'm done with this now. I'm going to put it away. I'm going to now go do something else. As we learn more and more how to do that and how to work with the internal energies, with the discipline that comes with all of the things that we practice, we also need to learn that aspect of putting the toys away. That we return to, not the same, but we return to and we restore what was at the beginning so that we don't lose anything that we gained in practice. We put it all back in the toy box. Paying attention to that is, that concept is all the more important when we start paying attention to some of the applications, as well as, and that's the martial applications, as well as the what I would call the healing applications, and being able to adjust your breath and being able to adjust your body so that as you need to relax, you can. That supple, controlled energy that we use in Tai Chi, developing that skill is also something that we use in practice and we don't necessarily use in all of our everyday life. Put the toys away. It's time to get the toys out now. Feet about shoulder width apart. Stand straight. Pull up through the crown of the head. Shoulders down. Pull up through the center. Hand circle to the front. Back around to both sides. Do not lock the knees. Keep them bent. Reach up. And again, roll through. Keep the movement smooth. Big circle. Fingertips reach up, elbows drop down, wrists, hands return to your sides. In our stepping method, right, we have, let's start here, just feet, shift to left, open right, transfer the weight, step through. Transfer the weight, keep going. This stepping method is something that every Tai Chi system has. We don't use the same stepping method that we would use for Bagua. We don't use the same stepping method as we use for Xingyi, right? For Xingyi, I'm here, step, step, close. That's not what we do in Tai Chi. Tai Chi is this rolling, shifting, changing step, right? I may adjust that step a little bit differently for Wudang style compared with Yang style. Not too much. It really is the same step. That rolling step is characteristic of every Tai Chi system, and Yang, Wu, Chen, everybody uses it. There are specific things that each system does that maybe is a little bit different, but the fundamentals, place the heel, shift forward, don't drop it, place it, that control the leg, put it where you decide you're going to put it. If you don't want to put it down, don't, right? Place it, transfer the weight, push from the back leg, push into the front. Front leg pushes back, the back leg pushes forward. You develop that opposition, which gives you a much stronger stance. That happens, again, all Tai Chi systems. When we practice, Wu style takes a narrow stance. So my transfers in Wu style are much more subtle and much more controlled than the open characteristic of Yang style. A little bit different in Wudang style as well. I have a little bit more twist and a little bit more flavor of what I'm doing in the lower Taijiquan in Wudang style compared with the characteristic movements that I want for Yang style. This difference is stylistic as well as martial. There are applications that Yang style has that are going to not be used the same way in Wu style. They won't. There'll be differences because the character of the forms are different. Yang style is big, Wu style is small. That characteristic difference informs what we do in the applications as well. In Wudang style, there's a twist in quite a few of the moves. That twist is part of the form, it's part of the characteristics of the form, it's what I learned. All the people that I learned with, especially Professor Liu, have that characteristic twist. And as we develop that skill, we also gain a better understanding of how to use the waist, how to use the lower Tantian, and what we're doing through the legs and the upper body in application. That characteristic is part of the style. This is the system that this belongs to. So if I'm practicing Yang style, I want what's appropriate for Yang style. I don't want to put, let me put some Shaolin in here. Yay, I've got some Lohan I'll put in here. Hey, strong Yang style. No, don't do it. Don't. It's a mistake. the foundation for Tai Chi is that quiet, outward, controlled, apparently soft movement. The outward appearance should be calm and relaxed, fluid, and continuous. That characteristic is absolutely something that we want to cultivate. If I try to do Tai Chi in the way that I would do Xingyi, or the way that I would do Elohan form. I did learn some Shaolin. So, I did. I did. I have trophies over here for it. Alright, so, but that characteristic, what belongs with this system, what belongs with this style, doesn't necessarily belong over here. As I practice, one of the things that I have to pay attention to if I want to follow the tradition, I'll put it that way. I want to keep developing my skill in the traditional form. So I can take the traditional form, I can make something else out of it, and I can pretend that it's mine and it's great, right? No, I don't want to do that. There are people who have done that. There are famous people who have done that, right? Yang Qingfu took what he had from Chen style, developed Yang style, and here we are. That development wasn't trivial, and in my own learning, what I decided many, many years ago was that I wanted to represent as best as I could what I learned without changing it, other than it's mine now and this is what I do. That opening, right? Okay. Sink, open, raise the hands, and sink again. Variation. I end up here. Brush knee. That's the next move. In both of those traditional forms, the opening is a little bit different. I kept both of them deliberately. This is what I learned from Huang Wei Lun. This is what I learned from Yang Jindo. As I was learning, I wanted to understand what this teacher said, what this teacher said. Why is this important for this person? What does this person consider the most important things? As I learned that, I was able to improve my own practice. And that is something that I do bring together. It's not the same, it's what I have. At the beginning, the salute again, sink, open the left, come up, shift left, open right, ward off, step through, ward off, pull down, turn, step through, shift back, and push. Single whip. This series repeats multiple times. I'm thinking 5 times, maybe 6, in the form. We know it's important. We do. We know it's important. What do we get out of it? The 4 directions. Ward off, roll back, press, and push. The centering that we need for all of the movements. And we gain that understanding of what is important in this form. Nightgown style. This is Wudang style, beginning of the first part of Wudang style. It's easy to see the difference. It's easy to see, I just made it real clear. The movements are different. The character of the form is different. The way in which the movements are done is different. And yet, that continuity, that smoothness, and the connected nature of each movement, that it's not stop, start, stop, start, stop, start, stop, start. We don't do that in Tai Chi. Tai Chi is end and begin, come back and go out. That flow of movement is fundamental for what we want in all of our Tai Chi movements. How much energy, Jing? How much energy? How much Qi? How much of the inner breath we're going to use in each movement? Depends. As I'm, excuse me. I'm here, Yang style, turn. Raise your hands. Application. Okay? That extension isn't empty. Here. It's very deliberate. And the internal workmanship to center and bring the hands up is something that we absolutely want to develop. That sense of open and close, that is the same as I'm talking about with our stepping method, right? So I'm here, and then I'm going to continue as I turn into white crane spreads its wings. That continuous movement is part of what we develop. In application, the extension of the internal energy and understanding what I might be doing. There's opportunities here. What might I be doing in this movement? There's several opportunities. That was your arm. It wouldn't feel, it's not supposed to go that way. It's not. That application, I can come here a slice. Raise your hands. This has potential for push as well as grab. The opportunities are only available if we're paying attention to the fact that they exist. In practice, I'm going to do this again with just, oh, isn't this nice? I'm waving my hands in the air. No. I'm sorry. I just don't agree with that. I don't agree with that at all. If that's what you're doing, you're dancing. Dance is great. It's great. Doesn't have to be hard. Nice and easy. But that sense that there's something to this. That it's not just I'm floating my hands up here and, I'm a bird, I'm waving. We have, in our Qigong sets, we have that. What we want to pay attention to, not only the shape of the form, the particulars for each movement, we also need to pay attention to what we're doing. The applications aren't absent. And if we aren't at least aware of the opportunities for application in each of the movements, then we're missing something. It's absent. It's not there. It's incomplete. My effort to learn, I wanted to learn what was complete. I knew about applications. I took a workshop with Wudang many years ago when he was first starting out, and that was it was pretty impressive. The focus on applications that Professor Liu had was pervasive. There was nothing he did that didn't have an application. That was his. I have books of his. He really does know quite a bit about applications and fighting methods and how to use what we're practicing. That sense of complete understanding is something that I absolutely want to share, and in any of my classes make sure that anybody that's learning from me understands. Tai Chi is not dance. It should look outwardly calm and relaxed. Inwardly, being able to see the strength and purpose with each movement is something that we need to develop and we need to pay attention to. In part 2 of Yang Style, we have cloud hands. This series, right here, ward off, press, pull down, and push. 4 directions. These 4 basic applications. Ward off is an application. It's not this movement. It's part, this movement is one method for using ward off. This method is ward off as well. I could use press, right? Press, press. That application is something that we absolutely want to pay attention to. This idea that as I raise my hands, there is something that I could be doing. as I move. There isn't ward off and press right there. If I bring this up, Joe, I use my elbow. This is also an application shoulder, right? So, there's my shoulder. If you're here, you're going. That sense of what can I do? The hip goes, knee, right, foot. We have applications that are part of each body part, and we have this sense of ward off, roll back, press and push, ward off, pull down, press and push, roll back, press, push, ward off, press, pull down, push. Those four, ward off, press, pull down, and push, are the four directions. We keep the center, right here, center. And as we do that, we want to develop that inner strength that if I were to use this, that sense of lightness and continuity would be there, and whatever is here would simply be moved out of the way. It doesn't have to be hard. It's just, I'm here, I'm going. And that sense of continuous fluid movement, that sense of inner strength and centering, isn't dependent on physical tension. It's actually the opposite. We need to have enough strength that the muscles don't tense up. No, don't do that. No. Everything stays loose, everything stays open, and that tensile strength, that strength that lets us move with fluid, with fluidity and extension, that's what we want. That is something that we have to develop. It doesn't just show up because we felt like it. And this sense of application, that there's something here. It's not just, let me wave my hands around like in a big circle. This is waving my hands around in a big circle. This is application. This is cloud hands. This is, I don't know what this is. This is cloud hands, right? That second one is from Wudang style. So my circle is here, Yang style, my circle is here. That difference, again, I've talked about this quite a bit this morning. Those differences are part of the difference in the systems, the applications. Yang style has ward off, press, pull down, and push as part of cloud hands. Wudang style has the same. Wu style has the same. This similarity, the way that we do cloud hands in each of the systems, a little bit different. I just showed that. But the fundamental four directions, that is the same. I'm going to stop with that for this morning. I appreciate that everybody has been waiting for me and that I've been kind of absent. I have just published 5 books. The story that I've been working on, I had published one of the books last year, and I was planning on publishing the other 4 over the next 2 years. I moved that timeline up a bit. They're all available on Amazon. I'll be posting some of the material here on YouTube, and some of the audio will be available on YouTube and on my podcast channel. I appreciate everybody who has given me ideas and helped me get this done. And that includes all of you, really. If there weren't people who wanted to take my classes, who wanted to hear my story. I don't know. You gave me that. Thank you.